Hello, darlings. Bunny Galore here, queen of the cult movies. Wait, that's not me.
Oh my God, you've got a personality. What's happening?
Gin. Hey, sluts. There we go. That's much better. Welcome to another episode of Bunny and the Beast. I am here. I am the Beast. I'm the only one you to really know about, really. Yeah. But I'm here with my spinster of mess, Bunny Galore. How are you, my love?
I'm good. I'm officially leaving the mess family, by the way. I don't want to be associated with this car crash of a menagerie that's around you.
Are you leaving or are you being excommunicated?
I don't mind which one.
Which one?
As long as I leave.
You're like, get that fire exit door. I'm off.
Get that brand away from me now. And I use that very loosely. Talking of loosely, how was your weekend, darling?
Oh, not as loose as you'd expect it to be, actually. No. I was in the regions. I was up north in Yorkshire.
Oh, were you? Was that where? That's where you were?
Yeah, I was up north for my sister's wedding.
Ah, amazing. I wonder why you were dressing demurely, because if you're watching on the YouTube version, the video version.
On the
YouTubes. He's actually wearing long trousers, which I thought for a minute that maybe he'd painted his legs.
Literally.
Because I don't think
ow. That hurt my hamstring.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, careful. Do stretch before stretching your leg out.
Literally. You didn't usually have to stretch before. Usually I'm like, whoop, bam.
Yeah, because you finished game night, so when you were on all fours on the West End stage, well, I say West End very loosely as well. It was in London. Anyway.
It was in the postcode.
It was in the postcode. it was in an abandoned building somewhere. Actually, it is an abandoned building somewhere. So, yes, you used to stretch quite a lot there because you were on all fours for that show, weren't you?
Yeah, well, that's second nature, really, by the end. But my friends Adam and Ryan from Game Night, they started to have a running joke, and I think it was more Ryan rather than Adam. Adam, who we had on the podcast. Ryan hasn't come on yet.
No, we need subtitles for Ryan. Ryan's lovely, but I do not understand. He was on the Game Night podcast this week.
Yes, he was.
I did listen.
Talking about saunas and stuff.
I think so.
Hoe bag.
I didn't hear much of it, really. It was just foul sounds.
Yeah,
that was it.
Same. He sent me a 4-minute I was about to say a 4-minute podcast. He sent me a 4-minute voice note about his review of the Barbie movie.
Did you understand any of it?
No, I played 20 seconds and who was I with? I was with somebody and they're like, what is he saying? I'm like, I don't know. But also, 4 minutes for a voice note is not a voice note. That is a podcast in itself.
You know, I was talking of Northern Irish as well. I was on the phone to Owen. He was driving to, was it a wedding? It was to some birthday, I think.
Oh.
And he was, the next day went, oh, it's great. It was like doing the podcast live. I think he just switches me on in the car, phones me and gets a full live stream. I was like, rude.
She gets the best out of all of us.
He does.
Sometimes with very questionable methods. Yeah. He has told me if I do something again, I'd be shot. So out of fear. So fear is a good motivator.
It is. It is. He's very stick rather than carrot, if you know that analogy of the stick and the carrot. As in praise or punishment. Stick being the punishment, carrot being the sweet thing, the nice thing.
Oh, with the stick sounds like pleasure as well.
I knew this is going to happen. I was talking about
pow. Oh, God. Only because Lucy Liu in Charlie's Angels, when she wears the dominatrix outfit, she has the riding crop. She's like, "Get back to your jobs," and starts whipping the table.
Yes,
it's really hot.
I saw a full dominatrix in leather catsuit on Monday.
No, that was just you filming your new series.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't realised, Bunny Galore hosts a movie show on Miami Fox.
Miami Fox is a new streaming service that's been, I think it's been going for a while. I'm new to the channel, and I've just
only time she's been new for something.
Yeah, no, yeah. Usually the old girl wheel her out. That's what the BBC does every so often. They just wheel me out on a horror show. It's quite fun. It's been really lovely. We only shot it last week, and actually it's about to. We're quite near to TX. We're about to broadcast. So I think it's 11th of August. It goes out, the first episode.
Ooh!
So it was great fun. It was beautiful, amazing sets, and it's why I'm particularly excited about this, and why I went with a different channel than I've been with for the last 10, 11 years is. Normally I had to do the public domain ones, which were like the black and white 50s, 60s ones, which I love. But
of your time.
Of my generation. Yes, I used to watch them when I was in my 60s, when they first started. But no,
in the 1860s.
In the 1860s. These are all talking about 80s. These are all 80s movies. A couple of 70s ones, but they're much more like. And that's the real sweet spot for horror, I think. So, but most of all, I get my episode 1. I got so excited. It's my favorite version of Dracula, which is Frank Langella, Laurence Olivier, Donald Pleasant from Halloween.
Oh, not the Gary Oldman.
I love that one too, but that's my favorite. It's got the score by John Williams, you know, the guy that does Star Wars and Indiana Jones, Harry Potter.
We don't talk about that.
What, Indiana Jones? I like the new movie.
I've not seen any of them.
Oh, they're fun. They're really fun. Yeah, the second one's my personal favorite. But yeah, they're good. They're really good adventure films.
Like the Man in a Hat and Man with a Whip. So, you know, it's right up my alley, isn't it?
I'm getting you the Blu-ray for Christmas. They're really fun. I think you'd certainly like the first 3 anyway. I don't mind the 4th one, and the 5th one's fun too. So, but yeah, it's the score. It's quite romantic. It's the first romantic Dracula from 1979. So that I don't think you would have got the Gary Oldman version if you didn't have that version.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I mean, he's always broody sexy, but he's not romantic until the Frank Langella version.
And then Twilight kind of ruined vampires for everybody.
I have watched the first one. I need to go back and watch those just to say that I have an opinion on them. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will expect me to see things and have an opinion on them, so I have to watch things.
I went through like a preteen crush on, not a crush, but I went through the whole Twilight phase when I was like 14, 15, which is not a 14, 15-year-old boy back in 2000 and, well, it would have been the tennies.
2002?
2002? No, it was 2020 actually.
Yeah, just that you're trying to work out math in your head going, is that right or wrong? I don't remember.
I was actually coaching a class last night on the floating class that I do in Paddington.
Oh, yes.
The one on water. I've not knocked anyone into it. I've not Alison Hammond anyone.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Just explain to the listeners what that actually entails.
So every Tuesday evening for the next 4 weeks, listeners, I'm doing a class in Merchant Square in Paddington, which is basically a floating dock at the end of the canal. And they've been doing fitness classes there for years, but they wanted me to do it this time. And I was coaching it yesterday. We were doing some sort of basically making people do crazy shit for 5 minutes. And then, so we did like 5 exercises, one for 1 minute each. And then let them have a rest. And I was like, and now we're going to do it all for 45 seconds. So we're going to reduce the time by 25%. Is that right? And then it was like, yes, that's right. And I was like, yes, GCSE and maths, finally coming in handy. And I did something else that was like, and now it's revoked. Which reminds me, I started watching Sex and the City.
Oh, yes, we did very briefly talk about it because I forgot. And you, by the way, you made me start again as well.
Oh.
Because
I have that effect on people.
Yeah.
I hopefully don't start smoking again.
There was so many things I was going to list off then, but I've stopped myself. Anyway, because you'd asked what's with the talking to camera thing.
It's so weird. What the Fleabag is going on?
Yeah. I think it's a very 90s thing. You had a program called This Life in the UK, which was the first time you had like the shaky zoomy camera effect on, which was the fashion for so long. In fact, it might be earlier 90s. But anyway, it kind of informed a lot of TV ever since. And I think that just probably comes from a few other shows that she's talking. And also because if you're doing something in a diary form, which I presume the original book is, like Dracula is in a diary form.
Yes, it is.
They just don't do it for in the movies, really. You see brief snippets of it in the Gary Oldman version, but so with Sex and the City, I think, well, what do you do? And of course, that's when it became when she's typing and the voiceover came in more.
Yeah,
but it lasts a lot longer than I remember.
There's even a tiny bit still in season 2.
Yeah, because I've just started season 2 again, and I went, oh my god, I've forgotten that when she's at the ball game or something like that. It's something right the first few episodes. So in my head, it stops after episode 3. I do think it's only one time an episode as it goes along.
It was a lot in the first few series, but I was watching the first series and it just cemented the fact of which one I am. Because I like to say, I pretend to be Samantha, but I'm all talk, no action. Samantha's all about action, so I'm not Samantha. No. Miranda's far too practical and logical, so I'm not Samantha. I went through
Miranda.
Yeah, Samantha or Miranda. Yeah. They rhyme, okay?
No, sorry. No, guys, yeah. One of the movies I'm doing this year is with Christian Davis, as in Charlotte, and I'm doing the link. I mean, I can do take two, but I like to do everything with one take if I can to make it natural. And I just couldn't remember the character name Charlotte, so I had to list all the other characters before I went, and Charlotte, and just pretend I meant to say it like that. I can remember her name, just couldn't remember the character suddenly.
And then I went through like a phase like a couple of months ago where I was like, I think I could be a Carrie. I could be a Carrie, but it was me just wanting to be the protagonist and the main character.
You're never the main character, darling.
No, I'm not. And I was watching season 1. I was like, nah, I'm not Carrie. And then there was an episode that Charlotte was speaking about something, and she was like, it was a conversation between her and Carrie, and it was Charlotte said to Carrie, "Oh, well, how do you know if you're not going to get close to somebody if you're not open to having sex with them?" And Carrie then goes, Charlotte sometimes comes out with something that's so profound and so intelligent that you kind of wonder who she really is. And then the next frame is her going, "Is my hair too shiny today?" And it's gone back. Yeah. And I went, there we go, that's me.
That is my funny you should say that is my favourite little nugget of Charlotte's character, because I think it sums her up perfectly.
Yeah.
She actually is quite wild. Really, it's because the sexy stuff she comes out with, but she is the romantic, which is very much you. You are the romantic.
Yeah, though Charlotte was kicked out the threesome, I'm never kicked out the threesome.
Yes, she was. Yes. Yeah, I think I've just watched that one again. Yeah, that was obviously. That's just because that was the first time she allowed herself to be particularly. Break a few barriers, and she always gets there's a few, don't want to spoil anything, but there's a few like archetypes she has to go up against, which obviously Samantha would do in a heartbeat without even blinking, and the other two might do, but Charlotte you think would balk at those sort of like, oh my gosh. And so when she allows herself to do that, then it always goes wrong.
It's more outlandish.
Yeah, something always goes wrong. It's like the guy that is known as Mr. Pussy. His head, it's like
who literally eats her out forever, and she's like, it's the best orgasm ever.
Exactly. And have you watched the one with the rabbit, the vibrator?
Yes. Yeah, and she hides it under the rabbit.
Yeah. Under a rabbit, yeah. But it's amazing how many big episodes happen earlier on than you realise. Because you get to season 2 and you go, I've forgotten so much happens in series 1 straight away. That it's same with Buffy, actually. I think there's a lot of like really famous episodes early on that you'd think are much, much later into the show, but they're not. They do, both of those shows hit the ground running quite quickly. But yes, I'm glad you're watching it. How are you enjoying it now? Is it kind of like a whole, because it's 98, 99, it's a long time ago now.
I am enjoying it. I am finding it really good and really funny. Especially season 1 when someone goes up to Charlotte and goes, "I think you got a nice cunt." And it's like, wants to paint. He's like, he wants to paint me. He wants to paint me. He's like, no, he wants to paint your pussy.
Yeah, and can you imagine what it was like in the late 90s as well? Do you know, as no TV was, I don't think Queer as Folk hasn't come out because that's 99, I think, at that point.
Yes, it is 99.
So
it's just before.
Just before.
So at the time of having 4 really strong female characters talking about these things would have been really like scandalous at the time.
Absolutely revolutionary.
And it was 4 women not really wanting to be like, I want to be the housewife, I want to be this, I want to be that. And they're questioning that role. Even though I think Charlotte does take that role quite a lot. She is very much like, I want to get married.
She's more the traditionalist, but she's still a independent, strong woman.
Yeah.
But she's a romantic and she wants to get married. Even though you would have shows with one strong female character, you'd always have the traditional, I want to be a housewife and a mother, I just want to be a mum, kind of character still in there. So again, I think that's why Absolutely Fabulous, although it's a sketchy sitcom, really, and quite broad, was so empowering as well, because that was 2 women in their 40s. And maybe 60s, 70s, depending on how old Pat's supposed to be. Being outrageous and doing things they want to. It's quite the. You had a lot of ladette TV in the 90s. That's what it was called.
Yes, that's really cool. That's a really good term.
Yeah, it's very kind of like women being laddie. But that Sex and the City, they could still look gorgeous, and they could still, the fashion became so important, and the romanticized New York would, obviously New York's probably not. I see some people complaining, going like, well, you don't have cherry trees down New York streets, and you don't. just lift one finger and a taxi screeches to a halt. And it's like, well, that's not the point. That's just storytelling.
It's dramatic license.
Yeah, it's just storytelling. But yeah, it's a great show. I'm glad you're enjoying it, and it just gets better and better and better.
My biggest pet peeve in those sort of shows is when someone goes to a bar and they're like just throwing money on the table and their drink isn't drunk.
Yes. Who does that? Yeah.
Like, no, you've just paid 20 quid, well, $20 for Cosmopolitan
Yes.
and a burger and fries or whatever. You're going to eat and drink that. You're going to pay, you're going to get what you paid for.
Yes, exactly. But then whenever, yeah.
Or am I just a human bin?
Yeah.
For food.
Yes, you are a human bin.
For food.
Yes, there we go. A trailer. Cut.
But the way I think I differ from Charlotte is because obviously she is so much like, I want to get married. I'm not going to buy an apartment. I'm going to rent so I look more available so no one wants to because a strong woman has her own apartment.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Off-putting, which is Miranda's storyline in season 2. I'm personally not that fussed about marriage, I don't think.
I was going to ask you that because you've just been to your sister's wedding.
Yes, I've been to my big sister's wedding up north in the Yorkshires.
So
in Harrogate, a place called Rudding Park. Also, Rudding Park, 15 quid for an espresso martini.
I thought you were going to say for a hand job then.
No.
You've lowered your prices.
15 quid for an espresso martini. And it wasn't even nice.
Oh.
It's like, hold on. What's the point of having a wedding in Yorkshire if the prices are the same as London, if not a bit more expensive? Because you wouldn't pay 12 quid for an espresso martini in the OCB.
No, it's about 10, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe 11 now.
Especially with our discount.
Well, exactly, obviously. Like, you know. Well, you get it for free.
Not for a while, I haven't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hence the £15.
Hence the £15. Yeah, so I'm paying my dues now.
Because I think there's a difference between going to a friend's wedding, but I don't have brothers and sisters, but if I went to a close relatives one, I think it would make you start thinking about those sort of things a bit more seriously.
You know what? It does. So this year I'm chalking up as the year of weddings.
Are you? You've got load on.
I've got 3 weddings this year.
Well, we're halfway through it, aren't we?
Yeah, we're halfway through. Bloody hell.
Oh my gosh.
We've not had any sunlight still. But my cousin's wedding, my closest cousin, who was always, she's born a month ahead of me and we're always in the same school. You have the same interests. It was her wedding in May. And then my sister's wedding on Sunday.
Right.
Was it Sunday or Saturday? It was Sunday. It was that long ago. I can't remember.
Because you had something for the wedding last Saturday. That's why.
Yes.
That's why you're thinking that.
That's why.
Yeah.
And then I've got my best friend from school's wedding in September. So it's 3 women who are very special and important to me.
Do you think it's an age that are you just getting to that age where it's people you're kind of? Is your sister older than you?
Yeah, my sister's 35.
Yeah, so it's that kind of level.
Sorry, Emma. I just outed your age.
Outed you.
She's going to be listening to this on the beach in Mauritius or somewhere in Safari in South Africa. Bitch.
Did she look gorgeous?
She looked amazing. She looked beautiful.
I've not seen I've only seen photographs of you. Surprise, surprise. I've only seen photographs of you on your social media. Was it one of those you're not allowed to post anything?
There was a little thing about don't post on social media until we've posted ourselves.
Because do you remember I tell you I did that gig at a wedding a few weeks ago, and I was like, right, take photographs of me and the groom. I'm dressed as Bunny Galore as a bride, next to the bride and groom, and about 3 people got phones out. I was like, what's going on? And of course they had this very strict rule about no photography.
I just don't get it. I'm like, people want to celebrate it.
I think at that moment, I think it's fine to do. I was like,
don't like in the ceremony.
Yeah, but I get why kind of it can make it look. You don't have the control over the photography on a day like that. You don't want any rubbish photographs out.
And being a drag queen, you know all about needing good angles.
Oh
good
my
lighting.
goodness! You know what I'm like with angles. Yeah,
I know what you're like as a control freak.
Yeah, exactly. Watch out! Oh, hello, pot kettle.
That's why we get on so well.
Exactly, I am. Well, I'm about the brand stuff. I think.
Yeah.
Where to go for dinner? I don't care. But has to be on. It's like I'm not producing. Well, I'm a co-producer on this new show, but and I keep on being sent edits and things in the last couple of days, which are all great. I'm going, yeah, knock yourselves out. Then I go, well, could you just change it?
Of course. Can you just change this one small thing?
Yeah. It's very, very, very small things, though.
But you are right. It does make you kind of think about it all. I remember we did, so a couple of years ago, my Nana passed away.
I'm right here, rude.
You called yourself out the graveyard to come and do this podcast with me every week. I appreciate you so very much. Sometimes.
This is called hell.
Purgatory. And for her next birthday, what would have been, we all rented out this massive house and we all did something together as a family on my dad's side. And we were playing a game and it was like you drew like 5 cards and they were like different things, like, and then everyone had to guess how you would rank them.
Right.
So all I remember is that the cards that I got was marriage, donuts. I can't remember the other 3.
That's your nickname, isn't it?
Donuts.
The one with the hole in it, obviously.
Glazed. Oh, I wish. But even my mum was saying, they were trying to rank them in the 5, and my mum was like, well, I'm sure James just prefers donuts over marriage. James wouldn't put marriage over donuts. I was like, Alison, what are you trying to say? But she was right.
Interesting. Yeah. Marriage, on the subject of marriage, I despise weddings with a passion.
Do you? Why?
I think it's because when I was growing up, obviously the 70s, 1870s, and 80s.
And they tried to pawn you off to buy a few cows.
Yeah.
And no one wanted you.
Exactly. Yeah, they sold the cow for some beans.
Trauma.
I'm the cow.
Milky White.
Milky White, yes. Oh my God, you are Jack and I am Milky White. Anyway, there's 2 characters coming up in Sex and the City that we are actually, but they're boyfriends, obviously. We are not boyfriends.
Oh, God, no.
Never would be unless I was blinded in both eyes.
And I'm not blonde or a twink.
It's true. But we are, but I'll tell you when you get to it. I want you to realise and go, oh my gosh.
Okay.
That's us. I think because it was a very heteronormative thing back then, and it was because I think if you're an only child, you get these people when you're a kid coming and you'll be next to you, and I'm like, you want to go, if they're over 6, you go, yeah, you'll be next, and the next funeral I'm at. So I used to hate it because of that. And then slowly as I went into the 20s and 30s, and I think because I'm in the industry where people don't get married till much later, again, it wasn't really a thing I was interested in. And then gay marriage came along and I was like, oh, the civil partnership thing first and then gay marriage.
It's been 10 years now.
So my attitude towards it was like, oh, you know that thing you're not allowed to do? Oh, you can do it now. And I was like, fuck off.
Are you about to say... I'm not for gay marriage, but I'm all for gay divorce.
Yes, exactly. So I didn't have a very romantic version of it at all because I was like, well, why would I want to do something that you've told me I can't do for like centuries? However, then reached my 40s and had friends in their 30s getting married and 40s getting married. And then I started to go to proper friends' weddings. And I was like, oh, actually, that was very lovely. Particularly one of my favourite Cinderellas, sorry about the rest of them, Lauren Hall got married. Her wedding was just perfect.
Who did she marry?
Matthew. I've forgotten his surname, which is her married name now, so they're awkward.
Sorry, Lauren.
Sorry, Lauren, yeah. Anyway, so their wedding was absolutely perfect. Like 1940s, 1945 high tea, it's a very boutique, mismatching, not crockery, not cutlery, I was going to say then. So it was gorgeous. So that made me go, huh. And another friend got married, another dancer mate, who met him and his wife got married out in Italy. I didn't go to the wedding, but again, it looked like a Midsummer Night's Dream fairy tale circus, kind of bits of circus.
That's cool.
Place. So I suddenly went, oh, if I did it, if I did it, that's how I would do it. And then you start going, well, hold on, am I just getting excited about a day rather than... But to sign up to half my estate to somebody else, it would need a prenup.
Well, prenups aren't legally binding in the UK.
It isn't. No, they're not anymore.
So there'd be no point.
So exactly, especially after 5 years, they're not.
Oh, okay.
Which is, well, that stops you. So you've got 4 years, 11 months.
So we're going to divorce and we're going to get married again, just to make the prenup work.
Oh my gosh, yes, you could, couldn't you? So I suddenly was like... And I almost proposed once. Have you ever proposed to anybody?
No.
You've never been in that kind of situation?
No, I kind of feel like, obviously, like gay marriage came around when I was 19. So and that's when I started.
That's still quite late, though.
Still quite late, but I've not been in the situation where I felt like I want to declare love for somebody in front of a room full of people.
Well, you do at Freedom, perhaps. But
Yeah, but that's after I've been ploughed with several drinks.
Plied with several drinks. Ploughed happens afterwards.
Oh, thank you, vocabulary over there. No, so my cousin's wedding, I was like, okay, I was going through something at the time, and I was like, well, this is great. You've been together since you were 14 years old. You are allowed to do this. And I was like, I've got nobody to do this with, so this makes me really great about myself.
Yeah, so yes, I think that brings that out, and that would happen to anybody. I think that doesn't matter if you're gay or straight, if you're bi or whatever color of the rainbow you want to be. But that would just, I think that brings it out. It depends on who's getting married. If you're not that happy for them, as well, if you're a bit like, oh, okay, I don't know you that well. Not saying that's happened.
Oh no, we're so happy with her, so happy for her, and not at all jealous.
Well, yeah. I was going to say, once again, with more feeling, make it sound like you're saying the truth.
I'm like 90-10.
60-40. 35-75. I can't add up to 100 now.
No, you can't.
So it's weird, isn't it? Yeah,
But you nearly proposed.
I nearly proposed, yeah. I had one boyfriend about 10 years ago where he was going away for a job in Leeds, which is why I always joke about hating Leeds.
That's why you hate Leeds.
West Yorkshire Playhouse. And we got on really well. I kind of had this image, right? Knee-jerk reaction to propose. So we went to the British Museum, the History Museum. And I thought, I know. And I had this image, I want to do it in front of like one of those big like dioramas, which they don't have. But in my head, it's like an episode of Friends or, overnight at the night at the museum type of thing. They don't actually have that. And it was so crowded because it was an after hours thing, but it was really packed. It was open to the public. It wasn't like a party. And we were just like, oh gosh, just couldn't find anywhere to do it quietly, really. I thought it's going to be, it's romantic and kind of cool, and he wouldn't expect it. And we ended up in this fire exit going like 4,000 people going past, going like, oh, I'm exhausted, sat down on this bench. And I went, oh, damn it. I know it sounds silly, but I had this knee-jerk reaction to propose tonight. And he turned around and went, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I don't think he actually was going to do it that night, but like he was thinking of doing it before we left, just to but then I realized that's a way of committing to somebody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than wanting to actually get married and have a wedding. That was just like a little bit of a commitment thing and I thought, we don't really need it in the end. But isn't that's the closest I've ever got?
Yeah.
I thought it was quite romantic, but it was like,
I've never got close to that at all. And I got close to it in a way that I was looking at buying property with one of my ex-boyfriends. And to me, that's a greater commitment.
That is Alison on my other podcast always says that's more important than marriage is buy a house. She goes, buy a house together. That's commitment.
And my cousin Dave and Lisa, they've been together like 15 years or something like that. They've been together since they're teenagers, and they are very much like, we don't want to get married. We don't want kids. So they're very much against the heteronormative grain, which is really interesting for me as a gay person to see. And they're like, well, if we got like won the lottery and got 10 grand, we would have a wedding. But we're like, we've bought a house together, we have a dog together. That shows our commitment, our love for each other. I will say though, at this wedding, so many gay husbands.
That you had?
That I had. I wish. So many gay husbands like in the closet.
Oh, I see. Sorry, with their wives.
With their wives.
Oh, honey.
Me and my brother were the master of ceremonies, and me and brother are both raging homos. So we were literally like texting each other like, that guy, do you think he's gay? He's like, yes. And we're both, even though gaydar may or may not be a thing, we're both like, what's with the regions and their fake wives?
Wow, which is crazy in 2020. I remember that in the 80s or 90s, but I don't expect it to still be happening in 2023.
I know.
And yes, it does.
Found like three there.
Wow. Okay. Oh, bless them.
I know.
Well, they don't. I always say. Also, by the way, there is a big spectrum. I've had boyfriends that are bi before that are now with women after me, and you don't necessarily. I don't believe in that. You have to be all the way 100% gay, all the way to 100% straight. You do whatever you want. However, I know exactly what you mean.
Yes.
It's like that is. Becomes slightly awkward. Well, we'll see what happens in about 10 years.
I know. My sister's going to listen to this and be like, Who's gay?
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Your husband. I'm joking.
Right, Donna, come on, get the seating plan out.
Literally.
with a pink marker. Okay, right, okay.
Rainbow marker. Gay. But no, it was a beautiful day. I'm not sure if it's something. Seeing. My favourite bit is actually the speeches of a wedding, of where loads of people are coming up and speaking so many nice things about you, and I'm like, I could do that. I could look. That's the bit I'd really like, and that's the bit that would choke me up.
Yeah.
Is people's declaration and showing their support for the person that I've chosen to be my life partner.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather use the money for a house.
Yeah, same.
If I'm very much a person like, if it happens, it happens, but it's not like Charlotte in Sex and the City. It's not on my prerequisite to have a happy life.
Sure.
Is it something on yours
To
get married? Like to be married?
No, never has been. Never has been. Never. I think it's possibly. I don't give a damn about relationships, really. I don't. Because I'm an only child. I think it comes from like in the sense that I don't need someone to complete me.
Yes.
I actually have my own personality and I have my own thing. Don't be wrong. It's lovely to be in one with the right person. I'm not going to do it for the sake of it.
For someone that bigs you up and encourages you to be a better version of yourself, but they take you as you are rather than changing.
Apparently, that's what they're supposed to do.
Allegedly,
yeah.
I've yet to have that.
I was going to say that's a great wish list, Jake. It really is. Wow.
Just someone who asks to see me. Just say, can I see you this week? And I'm like, oh, here's the world.
So I agree. I don't really necessarily need that in my life all the time. I have had some friends along the line that cannot not be in a relationship, and I find that so annoying. Like the sort of people that can't go to the shop without someone with them. It's kind of like, well, can you not stand on your own 2 feet? What's going on? I don't understand that.
Because it might be your ass for you as well. Like fucking hell.
Yeah, it drives me nuts. Why can't you stand? Why can't you be single? I don't understand. Why does that not? You'd rather be in a toxic relationship than be single.
Yeah.
Weird. I find that very strange.
I'd much, as Whitney Houston said, I'd rather be alone than unhappy.
I want to dance with somebody. No? Sorry, wrong song.
It's not. Another Whitney Houston quote that is working for you. It's not right, but it's okay.
Enough of my sex life.
And on that note, but sorry, I just whacked the mic. Oh. Sorry, Mike. Bunny galore.
Yes, darling.
Spinster of mess.
Divorced.
Excommunicated member of mess. Yeah. If you're going to be an inanimate object in the Beast Castle today, what would you be and why?
I think definitely I would be the awning over the 4-poster bed because I want to collapse on any married couples. Again, enough of my weekends.
And I would be a bridesmaid's dress. On the floor, because I'm always a bridesmaid, never the bride. And I just found some hot groomsmen.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, of course.
Well, no, I'm the dress, so actually I'm just voyeurizing.
Voyeurizing, yeah.
On that note, listeners, if you have any opinions on weddings that aren't as bitter as mine and Bunny's, please do send them in and we'd love to read them out. You can send them to our Instagram at bunnyandthebeast69 or on Gmail at bunnyandthebeast69@gmail.com. But from myself, the myth, the legend, the beast, we shall see you next time.